I Own It will give you a front row seat to the positioning, bold moves, and sometimes the dog-eat-dog negotiations that go on behind the scenes of the deals that break the norms, set the precedent, and become the case study we devour as we harnessed our craft. Welcome to the season. Leverage. You got it or you don't. On this episode, we're sitting down with Lisa Simonson. Stay tuned. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ben. I'm very happy to be here. Excited.
First season's about leverage. Everyone has a different interpretation of leverage. How do you define leverage? What's leverage to you, Lisa?
Leverage is not for me about my network. It's really about my successes. I leverage my successes.
And how do you do that? How do you leverage your successes?
Whenever we break a record in a building, we don't just target that building. You know, if we break a record in the plaza, we don't just target the plaza. We're going to then target at least 20 buildings around the neighborhood and announce, where and what the record was, and give all of the sort of details to excite people. And then we may even engage them, what is your apartment worth now, considering the record that we just broke.
When was the first time you experienced leverage in your life?
I think probably when I was in fitness. I was extremely successful. I've always been very successful because of my mindset, and I only do things I'm passionate about. But it was leveraging, being in vogue, and then being in glamour, and from glamour to self. So, once you have, again, a win, you're able to take it to the next level.
So in leverage, someone usually has leverage on you,
right,
or you have leverage on someone
right.
else. What, in your role, in your field, was there ever a time where you had leverage and you felt you were on the wrong side of the lever, where you didn't have the leverage?
I don't think so, because again, I've just, my two careers, I've always been extremely successful. So I think that in being successful, I was the one, not to say that I haven't had challenges or anything else, but I think I usually come from the point of strength.
When you're selling residential real estate, and you're dealing in big numbers with high-profile clients,
right.
How do you deal with leverage? They have certain expectations. They're relying on you. How does leverage come into play when you're selling residential real estate with these high-profile clients?
Well, I think that, first of all, they're coming to me because of my reputation, and they know that I'm going to deliver, and I don't let my clients down. I'm all consumed when I'm working on my deals, and usually, again, it's about leverage, because either they've heard about me, read about me. I just broke a deal in their neighborhood, so I come in on a strong point of view.
So you have a global Rolodex of ultra high net worth individuals.
Yes.
How do you leverage it?
I leverage it through social media, through my own personal contacts, constantly networking. I'm doing more and more networking, and I never quite understood the importance of networking, and it has to be strategic. So I'm very careful, because I feel that time is our greatest commodity, and we have to be very careful of how we spend our time. But networking is certainly one way I leverage it, and networking, social media, all of, again, when we have a success in a building, that we sort of go much broader on that success. Because also, first of all, your successes it's only as good as your last deal, right? So I had deals done years ago at the plaza, and when people bring that up now, or if I see it anywhere across, it's like too long ago. Like, we have to talk about, what was it? It's like, we're only as good as our last deal, right?
That's right. That's how commercial real estate is.
That's it. Like, we don't have to talk about what I did in,
right.
2005. It's irrelevant.
Exactly. Well, people always ask me, 30 years ago when you got started,
right,
what were those first deals like? Well, they were stepping stones for the ones I do
right.
today. Yes. Lisa just spoke about strategic partnerships and networking. I want you to ask yourself, are you giving within your network, or are you just taking? See, giving is going to allow you to grow and create significant growth in your life. Yes. So you have a vast international background. How does that create leverage for you?
Well, that's a great question. I think that, everything, and for me, things work best when they're organic. So my mother's Danish, my father was from Trinidad, I grew up in Canada. So that's organic in the sense that's who I am, that's my identity. So just from how I grew up and going to Denmark and going to Europe, that has, created a lot of international relationships and friendships and business, of course.
So you've had some great deals that I've researched that have been record-breaking here in New York.
Yeah.
How do you use leverage for the publicity? What do you do?
We do everything. So, it's never, for me, it's not just let's post this. It's working on a book. It's doing speaking engagements. It's, you have to go much broader, I think, when you're leveraging things. So it's definitely not just one-dimensional.
That's great. So how is becoming the go-to expert for publications and television created leverage in your career?
Well, you know what, and it's just a fact. So this is not sort of an opinion. Once you're on TV, once I started television 2 years ago, even if what I was doing was not different at all, and it wasn't, just between you and me, it wasn't different. Right. But I'm now an expert because I'm on the Today Show, I'm on this show. So that certainly does create, and that's why I decided to do television, because I'm a businesswoman, always trying to, continue always growing. Once you have those platforms, people do see you as more of an expert.
How do you continue to grow your knowledge to provide leverage in your industry? What do you do?
Well, I have my team weekly. We have weekly meetings going through the market, what's happening, understanding buildings, because everyone in New York City has their real estate license, period, right? The guy downstairs, this one and that one, and only a few people are actually nailing it and making money. So part of, especially when you're working with high net worth clients, first of all, it's not a secret anymore. 40 years ago or 30 years ago, there was no data. So if you could get into a certain building, it was more mysterious. Now everything's on a button. So people are coming in knowing a lot. So if you don't know more than them, why do they need you? So you really have to understand the market in a way that you may not have needed to, 20 years ago.
So you're into health and fitness and you look fabulous. How do you use your health as leverage for you professionally?
Well, it's my mental health. So for me, I equate it to brushing my teeth. No one in the morning, you don't say, do you feel like brushing your teeth this morning? Hopefully, unless my son, I had to convince him this morning, but that's another story. That's how I feel about working out. If I don't work out, I like to do something every day. And I advise everyone should work out every day. And even if it's, and that's one of my successes as a trainer, you don't have to do 2 hours, but even 15 minutes makes a difference. And of course it does make us all sharper, calmer, all of the things that are skills that we need as we work with our clients. Because of course, also for me, I don't look at any client as difficult. And in fact, a good friend of mine, my manager, said to me, you do so well with some very difficult clients. They gravitate towards you. And I don't look at them as difficult because I can deal with almost any personality. And I think that's also part of working out and coming in and starting the day with the right mindset.
So, a lot of people use leverage in different ways. When is taking leverage too far?
Taking leverage, of course, that's a fine line, but I think really when you're taking it too far, obviously discretion. That's a great example because, again, it's a fine line. If you're working with a very famous business person, a tycoon, a supermodel, I want to be able to use that, but if they don't want you to, you can't. And so that's, there's a line, people need to trust you. And so if you say to me, I don't want you to discuss this, then I have to go with that.
We just heard Lisa speak about confidentiality. Ask yourself, do you respect your client's confidentiality, or are you doing it for the notoriety? So breaking confidentiality is
completely,
absolutely
going to go too far. That's a definite no.
Understood. Well, thank you for joining us today on Leverage. We appreciate it.
This has been fabulous. Thank you so much. It's been a real treat.
It's time to jump out of your comfort zone and start using leverage you have right in front of you. Are you ready to put in the hard work? If you said yes, then what are you waiting for? Let's go out there and own it together.